This is a remote control car, and I want to destroy it. These are 4 more remote control cars, and I also want to destroy them, but this time in creative and spectacular ways. I want to put them through a series of increasingly challenging obstacles until all 4 of them are completely and utterly annihilated. I've also just hit 1 million subscribers, which is bonkers, so I want this project to be extra big and impressive to celebrate. On a serious note, this is all being done on private land, in big open spaces, with fire extinguishers and relevant safety precautions. Please don't try this at home. Anyway, let me introduce you to our contestants. First up is the Ferrari. It's double the size of the one we just destroyed, has a top speed of 5 miles per hour, and works best on flat surfaces. Then there's the monster truck, reaching a dizzying 22.4 miles per hour, faster than all the other cars combined. It works on all terrain and can even climb gradients of up to 45 degrees. It's undeniably the most advanced of the cars, albeit with a very flimsy plastic shell. Next up, the tractor, by far my favourite of the contestants. I wanted some variation between the vehicles, and this one's so slow they don't even list its speed on the box. It's big and clunky, and although I really hope it isn't, I fully expect it to be eliminated first. Maybe not by falling into a badger hole. And finally, there's a wild card, a silly bright blue kids car, but don't underestimate it. Reaching 7.5 miles per hour, it outruns the Ferrari, works off-road, and is ridiculously hard to control. It kind of reminds me of a dog chasing its own tail. Now obviously all of these cars are remote control, meaning I'm going to be in the background of a lot of the shots, which isn't ideal. The solution? Well, you're looking at it. Look closer. Camouflage. I'm going to be wearing a variety of different outfits throughout the video to help me blend in, so keep your eyes peeled. Before we start the destruction, there is one more character I need to introduce you to, the landowner himself. Meet Charlie.
Charlie, sit.
It's his garden and he's going to be helping with this project.
Good boy.
Charlie is a very good boy. So let's begin. First up, the pane of pain. Simply put, each car has to jump through a pane of glass. I'm using something called shatterglass, the prop glass they use in movies and TV shows. It looks real, but it's completely safe and harmless.
So here's the setup. I built a wooden frame to hold the glass and it's propped up on some logs. Yes!
Yup, that looked amazing. The tractor was next, and we switched the sheet of wood for a slide to provide more of a ramp and clear direction. And it looked even cooler than the Ferrari. Now for the monster truck. The monster truck made easy work of the glass too, but the blue car, well, the glass made easy work of it. I think its big protruding rubber wheels were hitting the glass first and cushioning the impact. I would have to throw it through the glass instead. I got the perfect strike, right in the centre of the glass, and even took out the camera for good measure. I've got to admit, that felt pretty good.
Jeez, this stuff is so weird. My mind can't comprehend that it can't hurt me. This feels so wrong.
The next obstacle was the hole in the wall, inspired by that old game show. I cut a car-sized silhouette into 4 sheets of wood, based upon each of the contestants.
You're covered in sawdust, sorry. Oh, Charlie.
Each car would then need to make it through without crashing, as many attempts as that may take. The Ferrari crashed straight away, but made it through on its second try. The monster truck almost sort of made it through sideways, but also succeeded on its second attempt. The tractor made it first time, with about a hair's width to spare, and remarkably, the little blue car only took 2 attempts. Admittedly, this obstacle was incredibly boring. I promise you it was way more exciting in my head.
But round 3 will more than make up for it.
It's time for the Ring of Fire. I soaked a length of specialist fire rope in paraffin oil overnight, then attached it to a metal hoop using hose clips and wire. It was supported at the base by wood and logs, which would burn eventually, but should give us enough time to get the shots first. I also have fireproof gloves and a fire extinguisher. Don't try this at home.
Let's do this.
How insanely cool was that? At the end of round 3, all 4 contestants are pretty much completely undamaged, but round 4 is about to get a whole lot harder, starting with my favourite obstacle of the entire video, the axe swing. 3 axes will be released from a meter high, and each vehicle must try to reach the other side. But that's not all. We're also going to attach, drumroll please, a chainsaw. This is gonna be terrifying. The monster truck bravely went first and got caught by the back of an axe. It looks as though the plastic shell absorbed most of the blow, but the camera went flying. Next up, the Ferrari. Like the monster truck, it was hit by that second axe, but managed to recover and make it through. It's now got a nice scar across the windscreen, having suffered remarkably little damage otherwise. Would the blue car have what it takes to make it through unscathed? Yes, it would. That was brilliant, an incredible feat from a car that rarely travels in a straight line. And finally, the tractor. Now I've grown really attached to this little guy and the way it just contentedly bobs along without a care in the world. So it's really heartbreaking that it has to come to this. Somehow the tractor made it. That's the single tensest thing I've witnessed in my entire life. It was an almost flawless run, and for now at least, the tractor survives. At this point, we're now over halfway through the obstacles. And yet so far, none of the cars are even remotely damaged. So let's up the stakes for the next one. This is a nail impale. Very simply, this rather heavy plank of wood is full of sticking out nails. Each contestant has to make it out the way before the wood falls.
3, 2, 1.
The monster truck made it, only millimeters from being impaled. But would the Ferrari have the same luck? It got impaled. Finally, for the first time in the video, one of the contestants had taken some real damage.
He's getting impaled. Oh, that was so close, wasn't it? So he's got a hole mark here, in the back there. It just depends how much actual machinery's in there. Should we see if he drives? He survived.
The tractor had a huge head start, because, well, it's my favourite and I'm protecting it with my life. But would it be enough? Yes. Although we might have cheated slightly, the tractor lives to see another day, for now. Time for the blue car.
How's it gonna look? Oh no, the car is impaled. I think it's all through the wheels.
The nails only went through one side of the car and avoided the big central mechanics. However, it completely destroyed that side, with the car now only able to move even more erratically. Nonetheless, it still hobbles through to the final 2 rounds, where all 4 contestants are going to meet their doom. This is the drop of doom. So this is Charlie's house, or technically his owner's house, and we're going to be driving the cars off the roof. It's a 3-story drop, and I'll have cameras everywhere, including a drone filming from the front. We'll continue the blue car's destruction first.
Yes, look at that. God, finally some damage.
Next it was the Ferrari's turn to walk the plank. Incredibly, it landed the right way up, before then bouncing upside down. The tractor sort of fell off more than drove off, tumbling down and not even clearing the balcony.
So since it technically didn't do the whole drop, I've got to drop the rest of it.
The damage looks worse than it is. There's a couple of superficial cracks, and the battery cover had snapped off, but once I taped it back in place, it was good as new. Lastly, the monster truck flew off with decidedly more enthusiasm. Unsurprisingly, it survived, and did a victory lap to celebrate. I should clarify, all 4 contestants still worked afterwards, I just stupidly forgot to film it. Which brings us to the very last round, the grand finale, the part where all 4 cars will get destroyed. It's the fireworks spectacular. I think this one's kind of self-explanatory. I taped 2 small rockets, 2 large rockets and a fountain to each contestant, then would light them in the middle of a field and run away as quickly as my legs would carry me. Once again, fireworks are incredibly dangerous. Don't try this at home. I'm really getting a lot of use out of this sign.
Here we go. Whoa! Oh. Oh, so that's just the fountain. And finally, the tractor. You've done us proud, old friend.
That was magnificent. The Ferrari's looking pretty sorry for itself, with the charred, cracked and melted windscreen. And its back? Well, there's not much left of it. The blue car is very beat up too, with all remaining wheels blown off in the explosion. In fact, despite scouring the surrounding area, we could only find 2. Our beloved tractor gave up a good fight but is in a sorry state, with a cracked bonnet, missing headlight, missing wing mirror, and general charred and discoloured exterior. The damage doesn't look catastrophic, but the electronics inside are completely destroyed. And finally, as for the monster truck, well, the only visible damage is to the plastic shell, which is nearly entirely melted. But what's more, after smashing through glass, jumping through fire, being hit by an axe, falling from 3 stories, and having 5 fireworks strapped to it and set alight, it still works. I am incredulous. If you've been rooting for the monster truck this whole video, then sure, it lived happily ever after. Please turn off the video now. Still here? Well, you asked for this. That's more like it. I need to say a massive thank you to Farley and Leah for helping with every part of this video, as well as Charlie's owner Seamus for letting me use his land. Here's a super cool shot of him running away from an explosion. And thank you to all 1 million of you. This really is incredible. Thanks to every single person who's helped me along the way, all my family and especially my girlfriend Danielle, who constantly has to put up with these elaborate projects taking up the whole house. It wouldn't be a 1 million subscriber special without including Ralph and Bella, and of course Reggie and Tom. Thanks a million.